Right. Hi, everyone. I'll give folks just a few minutes to join the broadcast here, but in the meantime, I will start by introducing myself. My name's Hannah. I am currently a marketing associate with Family Source Consultants. Previously, I was actually a surrogate with Family Source Consultants, so I am a one-time surrogate, and I delivered last July. I will have Tori and Lauren I have here today. We're here to answer your questions. So I will have Tori, you can go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name's Tori. I am from Iowa, and I am a first-time surrogate, still pretty early on in the process. But yeah.
That's right. Lauren?
All right. My name is Lauren. I am from Ohio, and I am a first-time surrogate, and I am 27 weeks pregnant with a little baby boy for my APs.
So we have three former and current surrogates here at very different parts of the journey. So I think this will be a great conversation.
Yeah.
It's designed to be an open Q&A session. So folks watching, if you'd like to go ahead and jump in and ask questions, you can use the chat feature to do so. And we'll go ahead and answer. Really, I mean, we're pretty much an open book here. So the goal of this is to, dispel some myths, get some information out there. So we're open to talk about even some of the stuff that you're like, it seems like a weird Google search, but we're here for you. So I will have Tori, if you can just start by telling us a little bit about how you ended up deciding you wanted to do surrogacy.
Yeah. So I have two boys myself, and me and my husband decided we were done after two. And I'm only 24, and I have super, super easy pregnancies. I love being pregnant. And I was actually on TikTok and seen some TikToks about surrogacy. I'd heard about it before, but kind of went down that rabbit hole of, oh, what is this? This is exciting. And it led me to, I went through a couple of different agencies to figure out, just get information. But I ended up with Family Source, and I'm just excited to help someone be able to start a family.
Cool. So what have you gotten done in the process so far?
So I've been medically cleared, obviously matched with my IPs. They're from California. And medically cleared. I just signed my part of the contract yesterday. So we're waiting on my IPs to sign their part. So hopefully legally cleared tomorrow. Fingers crossed.
That could be an exciting end to the week.
Yes.
Excellent. And Lauren, what about you? How did you hear about surrogacy? How did you decide that was for you?
So my husband and I have two children of our own. I have a 12-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I felt like I wasn't done being pregnant. I loved it. I also, knock on wood, have easy pregnancies, easy deliveries. And I am 32 years old. I still have time left. Like I said, I didn't feel like I was done. My husband was against another child. So we decided, actually, it was his idea to look into surrogacy, which was shocking at first, but I looked into it. It was an incredible thing that we kind of stumbled upon, and it's a blessing for the IPs, but it's also a blessing for us too. So that's my husband. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, that's very cool. I had a very similar experience, actually. I think that one of the things that I think people think when I tell them that I was a surrogate, that it takes like a total superhero in order to do it. And I think there's something very cool about it. But a lot of the women I've spoken to who have chosen to be surrogates are just like people who like being pregnant, or like people who are done having their own kids and kind of enjoyed being pregnant and want to do a cool thing. So I think that's a commonality that we all have for sure. Lauren, can you talk about then telling your family, what was that process like? I know I get questions a lot about what did your kids think and what did your partner think? So your situation sounds a little bit different. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So we all, my husband and I started the journey together, we kind of left everyone out of it until we were 100% in it. Didn't want to get hopes up. We didn't want, that kind of thing. So we didn't tell our families. We knew they would be supportive, but we didn't tell them that was actually going to happen until I believe I was medically cleared. I also had gestational hypertension with both of my kids, which is a good thing about Family Source Consultants because they work with moms who had gestational hypertension, which most agencies do not. It's usually a disqualifier. So because of that, I was also worried that I wasn't going to be approved. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to get everyone's hopes up and, go into this big ordeal about something that may not happen. So, yeah, we told them after I was medically cleared, and everyone has been like over the moon for us and our IPs. So, awesome. Kids. So my daughter is old enough to know what's going on. My son, he doesn't care. But my daughter is really excited to help somebody as well. So, and they've my IPs have talked to my daughter, have talked to my son. So they are excited to meet them. Mine are international, the international couple. So they'll fly in July. So we haven't met face to face, but we have FaceTimed. So it's exciting for everyone.
Tori, what was that like telling your family?
I was kind of the opposite. I was telling everybody, I think before I even applied, like I had to wait a while to apply because I have a 1-year-old. So I was ready, like 6 months postpartum. I was like, let's go. But I was like, let's hold off a minute, like get a little further along. But yeah, right when I applied, I was already, my husband was super excited. He hadn't heard of surrogacy really. So just the idea that we could help another family and get compensated doing something that I love, like I love being pregnant. And my mom was super excited. She had lots of questions. She suffered with like some infertility, so she had lots of questions about the process, and it was exciting to kind of share that with her. And my mother-in-law, anytime we talk, she's like, where are you in the process? What's happening? She's so excited. So I haven't really had many questions about it. Lots of people are just excited to hear about the process, and it's fun to share about on social media. And yeah, so I was kind of opposite. I was telling everyone before anything was set in stone.
I think it really depends on like where you're at in your life and who's, how people will react. I definitely leaned more towards Lauren. I think just because I didn't almost believe it was going to happen until it was happening. Like it's a lot of like meetings and appointments and things like that before you even like get to the like fun stuff. So I think I was just nervous that it wouldn't work out, and then I got everybody like worked up or had questions for no good reason. So so that's fair. So what is something that you wish that you knew at the beginning stages? And Tori, I know you're kind of at those beginning stages. Yeah. That you wish you knew, at the start.
Family Source does a great job of saying like you have to have patience, but I don't think you realize how much patience you have to have. Like as soon as I get an email or as soon as anything, I was like, oh, I'll get my records to you. I'll do this. I'll reply, thinking it'll make it go faster, but it doesn't. Like there's just so many factors, fertility clinic, your doctor, like everything. So yeah, and I mean, I can't complain. I can't imagine how the IPs feel like they're getting a child out of this. So, but yeah, just patience. You really have to, it's a much longer process that you think. So.
I agree.
Yeah. It doesn't really click till you're like waiting in between emails and, oh, I'm medically cleared. And it's like 4 weeks for legal and just a lot of waiting.
I was there with you.
Yeah.
Lauren, was there other advice that you would give yourself at the beginning now that you know?
I don't know. my case managers, my intake coordinators, everything were really straightforward with me. Gave me a lot of information that I used. I mean, everything pretty much went how it was described to me. I think the one thing I didn't know that I wish I knew in the beginning is how much I love it. Like it's completely world changing. I was already talking to my husband about doing another one when I'm done, and I'm not even halfway through. Oh wait, no, I am halfway through.
You better be halfway.
But I mean, it's crazy how much you love it and how much you fall in love with your intended parents. Where I didn't think it would happen. I'm not a cold, unemotional person, unattached person, but I love my IPs like they're my own family. And it's crazy to me because we haven't even physically met face to face yet, but I couldn't imagine doing it for anyone else yet.
Yeah. That's really cool. Do you talk frequently then? Do you like text? Because I know everybody's relationship's a little bit different. So
yeah, we text mostly on Wednesdays because that's my week change. So I give her, a new bump pic, and then she always asks how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, how stubborn baby boy is. But no, we frequently text. Yeah. We FaceTime during ultrasound appointments too.
Tori, have you been in communication with your IPs yet?
Not yet. I have their numbers. I'm just not sure when to reach out. I think I'm going to after we're like legally cleared, like, because I'm sure we'll make plans to like meet up for when I'm out there for the transfer and whatnot. But yeah, that part's always kind of like, when do I message them? Yeah. What do I say? Like, but during our match meeting, they were great. I think my husband and the intended father are going to get along great. They seem to be similar in personalities, and I think it's going to be fun getting to know them. Yeah.
That is, yes, that's a very fun part of it, I think, especially if your partner gets in on it too. That's a great time. We had a question in the chat, and again, anyone watching, you're welcome to add questions to the chat. So we can kind of get into medical clearance a little bit. I know that medical clearances look a little bit different for everybody, and medical protocols look very different from clinic to clinic. So we have someone asking specifically about a hysteroscopy. I don't know that that's something that I had to do necessarily. Is that something that sounds familiar, Tori or Lauren, that you had to do? Lauren, can you talk a little bit about your experience with that?
If I remember correctly, it is when they insert a catheter into your uterus and insert water, and they see how it, through an ultrasound, see how it looks, how your uterus looks through the ultrasound.
I think they just called mine a saline ultrasound.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Okay, so
I probably did. I don't even so the person asking is specifically asking if it was painful, and the fact that I don't even remember it, to be honest, is probably a good sign, I would think.
No, it wasn't painful at all. What I remember, like I said, been a while. Real simple, quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just there a couple months ago, and I was in and out in 10 minutes, and 5 of that was the waiting room. They just did an ultrasound, and then they did a catheter and inserted the saline. I didn't even know it was happening until they took the catheter out, and they're like, "You're good, looks great."
So that might be a follow-up question, I'd say. And this is where I know some people do independent journeys. This is where I was particularly grateful to have Family Source, because I felt like I could ask all my questions to my case manager. So I would say with some of those, at least with our experiences kind of all being very similar about that, I would ask more questions about that and make sure that, we're all talking about the same thing. Because I would ask for more clarification on that specifically. But again, everybody's procedures and processes are a little bit different. I know I had to do a medical medication trial. So some people don't go through a trial. I had to go through a trial, so I had to do the injections knowing that it was not going to lead to a transfer. We were just like testing my body to make sure that all the levels were correct. And then I had to go in and have like they had to like test my lining and make sure that that was all like good. And then I got to jump into the actual cycle. So it took like several months leading up to that, just based on like my medical medication trial. Did Tori or Lauren, Tori, you haven't quite gotten there yet, but
Not yet.
Lauren, did you just jump right into transfer cycle?
Yeah, I jumped right in.
Yeah. And then some people use estrogen like pills, some people use suppositories. So I know that like the actual medications, some places use birth control, some places don't use birth control. So you'll have to kind of get more information from your clinic. The other thing is, like, in addition to my person at Family Source, who was able to answer some of those questions, the admin team at the clinic was also very helpful to answer some of my questions. So I would say don't ever be afraid to go ask all the questions that you have about, like, what is this procedure? What are you doing to me? What's the pain level? Will I have anesthetics for it? Like, ask all of those questions up front, because that'll definitely, I think, be a good start, because you don't want to ever feel like you're in the dark. And again, we have staff on our team who can help with that, but also the clinic should be providing you with some of that information. So I know that like the injections can be kind of scary. So Lauren, do you have any like tip? Do you even remember those days now, or do they feel so far behind you now that you're past them?
I remember. I don't know what I was afraid of. Like, yeah, it looks long. After the first one, I was like, oh, well, that was it. Like, it's really easy in the beginning. It's towards the end when you're towards that, 10-week or 11-week mark, when your fertility clinic says, okay, you're good to stop medication, and you start going over the same spots that you're already injecting. It gets a little sore then, but I don't remember I don't know why I was so worried about the injections. I did not do Lupron, so I didn't do the first little injection. I just did progesterone and estrogen. But yeah, I don't know what I was afraid of. It's a mind over matter thing.
And the Lupron ones, you didn't miss much. I'll tell you that. I had to do them. Those ones go in your belly, and they are like little tiny needles, and those are the ones that you start with. And you feel really good because you can take Lupron shots like no problem. Those go in your stomach, and they don't hurt like at all. So then I was like real gutsy going into my progesterone shots, which go in your like lower back. Technically, people say that it's like your butt, but it's kind of like your lowest back part. It's like right in between there. And yeah, those I don't think were necessarily comfortable, but I felt much better about them after I got them going a couple times. So
yeah.
But one of my things that I wish I had known going into it is that you have to do the shots for like the first like 12 weeks of pregnancy, 10 to 12 weeks typically. I truly thought I was signing up for like a week of injections. So it might be good to know that you have, you're going to need those all for several weeks. And we had a question.
You'll inject until you produce your own. Yes. You're basically tricking your body to produce and have a pregnancy that you didn't create. So,
well, Lauren, did your partner do the shots for you? Did you do them yourself?
He is definitely afraid of needles. He would have fainted. No, I did them all.
You did them yourself. My partner did every single one of them. I did not touch a needle the entire time.
Been bad.
My husband's already prepared. I'm like, that's not me. I'm not doing it. He's doing it.
Yeah, Lauren, this is a good question we have from the chat. How do you do your own shots in your back? It's a fair question.
It's a lot of maneuvering. Sometimes putting your leg up on a chair helps because you take your weight off of that side. And it's just twisting, and it literally is not like the middle of your back. It is like on your like hip.
Your hip, yeah.
I don't know if to show you, but like
hey, baby mom.
This is your hip. It's like right here. So you're easily
you can get to it.
But
I've heard too that a secondary spot you could put it is in your thigh, But then I've also heard that's like the worst pain people have been in. Like
I could
anybody who's
imagine.
tried it in their thighs, I feel like tries it once and then goes back to their back.
So it's nice because your hip is fatty, but it's also the largest muscle in your body. So it's able to kind of absorb all that medication. But yeah, your thighs, ow, that would hurt.
Yeah, but some
Thinking
people I
about it.
think get tired of their back and then they just decide that maybe they'll give it give it a shot. But,
Whatever works for them.
I guess.
But yeah, it's a simple twist. It's not far off.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. What do you think is the best part so far about being a surrogate? What's been like a super fun part? There's just so many you can't even.
Yeah, I like seeing FaceTiming with my IPs so they can see the ultrasound and I get to see their face because it's their baby they get to see. I don't know. I like everything about it. Yeah.
I think ultrasounds are like extra fun. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Tori, what's been like your favorite part so far?
Definitely the match meeting. You got Family Source put out a blog right before I had mine, and it said like it's comparable to like a first date, and it was so true. Like me and my husband are all like waiting patiently by the computer at the kitchen table. We had the kids laid down, and yeah, it was just super exciting and fun meeting them, and then like waiting afterwards. Oh my gosh, are we matching? Did they want to match with me? It was just all very exciting. And
now, did you get to review a lot of applications before you chose who you wanted to meet with?
I got one, and I didn't have a lot of criteria on who I wanted to work with. I was anybody, basically. I mean, as long as so when we reviewed it, yeah, I was like, I'm down to match after this meeting, so we'll see what they say.
Right. Lauren, what was your experience with matching like?
I was sent 4 profiles, and they're very detailed. With their wants and wishes, and they at the end they send you like a letter of if we match, like this is what it means to us. And I read all of them and felt really strongly about the couple that I am with now. Like Tori, I didn't have a bunch of criteria that I didn't want to work with. Like I was pretty much open to, everyone I feel deserves to have a child if they wish they to have a child. And once we spoke, like I said, mine are international, so it was a little broken English, but it was very pleasant. We got along really great. We were all on the same page about everything, from reducing, if need be, to delivery, how they want delivery to happen, how many embryos they want to transfer, stuff like that. So we were all on the same page regarding all of that information. And once we were done, yeah, I got an email from the coordinator from Family Source, and she's like, "Do you want to match?" I said, "Yep." And then their case manager reached out to them. "Do you want to match?" They said, "Yep." And then we got the email together saying, "Yay, congratulations, you've matched."
That's amazing. And I think it's interesting. So my intended parents were local. So mine were local. Tori, yours are out of state, and then Lauren, yours are out of the country. So we can have the 3 experiences represented there too. So my experience with having local intended parents, that was something that I said I did prefer. And again, you get to give preference to things like that. Some people prefer to have international intended parents. Some people prefer if they're out of state. Some people have no preference at all. For me, I was working a job that was like pretty flexible, but not flexible enough for me to travel. And some people, that's the appeal, is that they want to travel somewhere to do the transfer and like the traveling piece of it. For me, I didn't want to have to travel, and it was just easier to have everybody here. And so that worked out great. And so I was paired with one. I had one application. We met, and very similar to your experiences, it was like, oh, well, of course we'll match. This is the best meeting ever. And even in the meeting, we were like, okay, we all agree then, this is great. And like the person who was moderating the meeting from Family Source was like, chill out, everybody. Like, we're going to send everybody, just talk about it on your own after. And we're going to, send you an email to follow up. And I know that just in that meeting, we were all like super pumped about it. So, but it feels very much like a kind of awkward blind date in some ways, right? So what are some things that people might want to consider, like some things that a surrogate might want to ask intended parents in that meeting? Were there any good questions that you asked or wish you had asked in your match meeting?
I don't think so. I think it was really well moderated. Where, like, our case manager was on there. Also, their case manager was on there. So like it helped flow the conversation into, finding out their specifics, and what their wishes are for this journey, because it's not just my journey, it's their journey as well. So we want to make sure that it's a pleasant experience for both parties. And Family Source did a wonderful job discovering or talking about which preferences for each category, if that makes sense. Like I said, how many embryos they would like to transfer? Do they want multiples? Do they want just one? Do they want, if you need to, for the safety of, the intended or the surrogate, are you okay with terminating if need be? So like all of those circumstances were addressed, which was very nice. You weren't in the dark at all. So I think Family Source did a wonderful job.
Yeah, we were both kind of awkward. So our moderator, we just went through the questions, just all the questions, and I mean that worked for us. It opened up conversation, and yeah, I mean we hit everything. I was really like communication. I wanted to know how often and things like that, and yeah, that would be my main question, because like the number of embryos and stuff, I feel like that's kind of addressed in the profile, and like it's good to like double check on that, but when you're like talking face to face with them, it's kind of nice to know just what their expectations are in communication, who's going to be communicating the most. And because I found it surprising that I would be communicating more with my intended father instead of my intended mother, just because of their schedules. So when we move further, I'll be calling and texting my intended father more often. So
that's all good stuff to figure out. Yeah, I think the communication piece is huge. And for like Tori said, you're not gonna get into a match meeting if you already have criteria that doesn't line up. Like that would not be a thing. So really, it's more about like fit at that point. And again, kind of like dating, like you can talk to them online all you want, and then you have to actually get in person and see if you click. So something that was important to me was like a sense of humor, which again is not important to some surrogates. Some surrogates are like, I don't care, or I don't really want to have that kind of relationship with them. And for me, I just think like it's kind of an odd situation, right? Like surrogacy in general, kind of odd in a lot of ways, right? Like it's not a normal experience that everybody has. And so just to be able to kind of like laugh about the silly parts with somebody and like laugh off things when appropriate, of course, but like it's just like there's a lot of kind of absurdity to it sometimes. And so somebody that we could like connect with on some of those pieces, so it wasn't all like very serious all the time and unfun, because it should be like a really fun experience too for kind of everybody involved. So I think that made it a really positive thing for us too. So that was something that you can't just read about on paper necessarily. So those match meetings are fun. I know we have just a few minutes left here. I wanted to give a last opportunity for folks, if you did have additional questions that we haven't answered, to give you just a couple minutes. But for Lauren and Tori then, just to wrap up, are there additional pieces of advice that you would give to anybody watching who might be considering becoming a surrogate?
Do it. No, I would definitely reach out to family source consultant member and get as much information as you can. Talk to them. They're not going to turn you away just because you're wondering about it. They have the most accurate information. You can Google until your heart's desire, but unless you have someone completely involved in the process, you're not going to get all the information. So I would suggest reaching out and getting the information.
And I think that's huge what you just said too about like not needing all the information in order to reach out. I think a lot of people are like, well, I think I want to be a surrogate, but I don't know, but I'm not really ready to reach out. Like, reach out anyway, and then we can help you figure out what to do from there. Because again, they can connect you with somebody who's already a surrogate. Most of our staff have either been surrogates before or been involved in the surrogacy process. So even if you're like 2 years out from actually becoming a surrogate, like just starting that conversation and having a person that you can ask questions to, I think that's a fantastic point. Tori, what would you say?
Yeah, just do your research, reach out. Don't be afraid to have criteria when it comes to matching. I didn't, but don't be afraid. Like, it's not going to limit the amount of profiles you get. Like, Family Source is great at going through the profiles and putting people together that are meant to be together. So yeah.
Totally agree. Fantastic. Well, if there are no more questions from audience members then, and again, if you're watching at home or even if you watch the recording back later and you do have more questions, please reach out to anyone at Family Source. They can get you in contact with somebody who's been on this call tonight. We're all happy to help. And so please reach out. We hope to see you as a surrogate soon. It's kind of a nice little community that we have, and we'd love to have you join. So I absolutely agree. Somebody just said that the journey is amazing, and it really is. So thank you, Lauren and Tori, for being here with us tonight and sharing all this very helpful information. We'll see you all soon. Thank you.